3 ingredients, $2 total. Every life stage of a parasite destroyed. Not just the adults, not just the larvae, the eggs too. Prescription dewormers cannot do this. Ivermectin cannot do this. Albendazole cannot do this. Those drugs cost $50 to $200 per course. They target adult worms. They leave eggs intact. You pay again, and again, and again. That recurring revenue generates billions annually for the pharmaceutical industry. This formula uses 3 shelf-stable ingredients from any health food store. Total cost, $2. The World Health Organization confirms parasitic infections kill over 500,000 people every single year. And the formula that allegedly addresses every parasitic life stage simultaneously has been commercially shut down in at least 9 American states. Not because the ingredients are illegal. They are not. Not because someone got hurt. That is not what the enforcement records show. It was shut down because it worked well enough to threaten a business model. By the end of this video, you will know the exact formula. You will know the precise ratios. You will know the 14-day protocol. And you will understand exactly why they did not want you to have this information. Welcome to the channel. If you are new here, this is where we recover the knowledge that commercial systems would rather you forget. This is not entertainment. This is not speculation. Every protocol we cover is specific, sourced, and built for the moment when the supply chain you depend on stops, depending on you. Subscribing here means you refuse to let critical survival information disappear behind a price tag or a regulatory barrier. And I will be honest with you. This topic is going to make some people uncomfortable, not because the science is unclear, but because the regulatory story behind it raises questions that the agencies involved would rather you never thought to ask. So let us start where all honest investigation starts, with history. Before there was a pharmaceutical industry, before there was an FDA, before there was a patent was an FDA, before there was a patent system, human beings were fighting parasites, and they were winning often enough to survive as a species. Let us be precise about how long this knowledge has existed. Indigenous peoples of North America were using preparations made from black walnut for intestinal parasites centuries before European contact. We are talking about a minimum of 500 years of documented traditional use within indigenous healing practices, and that is a conservative estimate based on the earliest European ethnobotanical records. The actual practice almost certainly stretches back much further. These were not guesses. These were observed, repeated, refined protocols passed between generations because they produced results that kept communities alive. Now shift your attention across the Pacific. In traditional Asian medicine, clove has been used for parasitic and antimicrobial applications for over 1,000 years. Clove was not just a spice, it was medicine. It was so valued for its medicinal properties that it became one of the most fought-over commodities of the medieval spice trade. Wars were funded over access to clove. All colonial empires were built on controlling its supply. And one of the primary reasons it commanded that price was its documented effectiveness against parasitic organisms. European colonial pharmacologists eventually isolated the compound responsible. They called it eugenol, and they adopted it into Western practice, most visibly in dental medicine, where eugenol has been used for over 100 years as an antiseptic and analgesic. But its antiparasitic properties were documented long before anyone put it in a dentist's office. Now here is where the history gets uncomfortable for the official narrative. The United States military has known that parasites are a lethal operational threat for over 80 years. During World War II, from 1941 to 1945, deworming protocols were standard operating procedure for troops deployed to the Pacific Theater. More soldiers were incapacitated or killed by parasitic infections than by enemy fire in multiple campaigns. The military did not debate whether parasites were dangerous. They did not wait for double-blind clinical trials. They dewormed every soldier because they understood that failure to do so meant losing the war to organisms too small to see. This continued through the Vietnam War. From 1955 to 1975, American military operations in tropical Southeast Asia included routine anti-parasitic protocols because the institutional knowledge was clear. Parasites kill. Period. The military knew it. They acted on it. And yet somehow, this urgency never translated to civilian public health education. You were never taught in school that parasitic infection is one of the most common and deadly threats in any environment without reliable sanitation. You were never told that your own military considered it a greater threat than bullets. Ask yourself why. Now, before those pharmaceutical dewormers existed, what did people use? They used the same ingredients we're discussing today. And here's a critical point. One of those ingredients never stopped being used. Food-grade diatomaceous earth has been used continuously, without interruption, as a livestock dewormer in organic farming for generations. It has never been prohibited, It is endorsed within organic certification standards. The USDA registers it. Organic farmers feed it to cattle, to chickens, to goats, to pigs. It works. Everyone in agriculture knows it works. It is not controversial on a farm. It is only controversial when you suggest that a human being might benefit from the same knowledge applied to the same biological problem. In the 1990s, a researcher named Hulda Clark published a parasite cleanse protocol that combined black walnut hull tincture, wormwood, and clove. Her work bridged traditional knowledge and modern alternative health practice. It was not invented from nothing. It was a systematization of folk methods with centuries of precedent. Subsequent practitioners added food-grade diatomaceous earth to the protocol, creating the 3-ingredient formula we are examining today. Clark's work was attacked. Her credentials were questioned. Her products were seized, but the ingredients she used have never been disproven. They have simply been made commercially inconvenient. And that is a very different thing. Now that you understand the lineage, that you can see this knowledge stretching from indigenous North American medicine, through Asian traditional practice, through European colonial pharmacology, through military deworming operations, through organic farming, through alternative health publishing, the question becomes precise. What is actually happening at the molecular level? Why do these 3 ingredients work? Let us follow the science. This channel exists to dig into exactly these questions. The protocols we cover span water purification, off-grid medical care, food preservation, communications in grid-down scenarios, and physical security. Every single one is specific, actionable, and costs a fraction of what the commercial alternative charges. This video covers one formula in depth. The full library covers hundreds of protocols across every category of collapse survival. But I want you to stay right here, because the most critical information, the exact protocol, the precise measurements, and the full regulatory story is still ahead. Do not leave before you have it. Let us examine what modern science actually says about the 3 compounds in this formula. And I want you to pay close attention to the structure of what I am about to explain, because there is a logic to why these 3 ingredients must be combined. No single one of them is sufficient alone, and no pharmaceutical currently on the market replicates what the combination achieves. Ingredient 1, food-grade diatomaceous earth. The active substance is amorphous silica. Under magnification, each particle of DE looks like a tiny cylinder covered in razor-sharp edges. These are the fossilized remains of microscopic aquatic organisms called diatoms. When a parasite's outer membrane comes into contact with these particles, the silica physically abrades and penetrates the exoskeleton or cuticle. The organism dehydrates and dies. This is not a chemical reaction. It is a mechanical one. And that distinction matters enormously. Chemical antiparasitics create selection pressure. Parasites can evolve resistance to chemicals over time. This is documented. Drug-resistant parasitic strains are a growing global concern. But parasites cannot evolve resistance to being physically shredded. You cannot develop an immunity to a razor blade. The FDA classifies food-grade diatomaceous earth as generally recognized as safe, GRAS status. That is a federal determination. It is legal to consume. It is legal to sell as a food additive. It is legal to feed to livestock. It just is not supposed to cure anything. Remember that distinction. It becomes important later. Ingredient 2, black walnut hull tincture. The active compound is juglone. Pharmacological literature documents juglone as having direct toxic effects on adult parasitic worms and protozoa. It disrupts cellular respiration in these organisms. It interferes with their metabolic processes at a fundamental level. An alcohol-based tincture extracted from green black walnut hulls concentrates this compound and provides a shelf life measured in years. Stored in a cool, dark location in sealed glass, this tincture remains potent long after most pharmaceutical products have passed their expiration dates. Juglone targets adult-stage parasites. It is the chemical kill mechanism in this formula where the DE shreds the juglone poisons. Ingredient 3, raw clove oil. The dominant bioactive compound is eugenol. Published research documents eugenol's antimicrobial properties extensively. But here's the revelation that changes everything. Eugenol demonstrates ovicidal activity. It attacks and penetrates the protective casing of parasite eggs. Now let me put this in context that should make you deeply uncomfortable. Ivermectin and albendazole are the 2 most commonly prescribed antiparasitic medications worldwide. They are effective against adult-stage parasites. The medical literature is clear on this. They work against adults. But they do not reliably destroy eggs. This is not disputed. It is acknowledged in prescribing guidelines. It is the reason that treatment protocols for many parasitic infections require multiple courses separated by weeks. You take the drug, it kills the adults, the eggs survive, the eggs hatch, new adults emerge. You take the drug again, $50 to $200 per course. Multiply that across a global patient population, multiply it across recurring treatment cycles. You begin to see a number measured in billions. That is the business model. Eugenol from clove oil is claimed to penetrate and destroy parasite eggs. 5 drops. If this is accurate, it breaks the reinfection cycle in a single protocol. No repeat purchases. No recurring revenue. No quarterly earnings growth from parasitic reinfection. Now you see the combination logic. Diatomaceous earth provides mechanical destruction of parasites through physical abrasion. Black walnut hull tincture delivers chemical toxicity against adult worms and protozoa through juglone. Clove oil attacks and destroys eggs through eugenol's ovicidal action. Mechanical destruction plus chemical adult killing plus egg elimination equals comprehensive life stage coverage. Adults, larvae, eggs, in a single 14-day protocol. No single ingredient accomplishes all 3. No single pharmaceutical drug accomplishes all 3. The combination is the innovation, and the combination is exactly what you cannot buy commercially in at least 9 states. If this formula does what its proponents claim, the question is inescapable. Why is it not in every medicine cabinet in America? The answer is not complicated. It is just ugly. The FDA drug approval process costs an estimated several $100 million per drug. That is not an exaggeration. That is the documented average cost of bringing a new pharmaceutical through clinical trials to market approval. Now ask yourself, what company is going to invest several $100 million to validate a formula composed of 3 ingredients that cannot be patented? Diatomaceous earth is a naturally occurring mineral. Black walnut hulls are a plant product. Clove oil is a plant-derived essential oil. None of these can be patented. Without patent protection, there is no exclusivity period. Any competitor can sell the same formula the day after approval. There is no way to recoup the investment. This is not conspiracy theory. This is basic corporate finance. Every pharmaceutical executive understands this calculation. Every investor understands this calculation. No rational company funds $100 million trials for an unpatentable $2 formula. So the trials never happen. And the absence of trials becomes the justification for saying it is unproven. Here is what they do not want you to calculate. The global anti-parasitic pharmaceutical market generates billions in annual revenue across human and veterinary applications. Major producers, including Merck and GlaxoSmithKline and their generic licensees, distribute ivermectin and albendazole worldwide. The recurring revenue model depends on the egg stage gap. Patients need multiple courses. Multiple courses mean multiple sales. If a $2 formula eliminates the reinfection cycle, that model collapses. Not gradually, immediately. Now the 9 states, no state has banned diatomaceous earth. No state has banned black walnut hull tincture. No state has banned clove oil. You can buy all 3 ingredients today, legally, in all 50 states. What has been systematically shut down is the commercial infrastructure for selling the combination with therapeutic claims. Products have been seized. Sellers have received cease and desist orders. In documented cases, individuals have faced criminal charges for marketing herbal parasite cleanse formulas as treatments. The distinction is precise and it is important. The knowledge is legal. Possessing the ingredients is legal. Combining them in your own home is legal. Consuming them is legal. Selling a product and claiming it treats parasitic infection without FDA approval is what triggers enforcement. They did not ban the formula, they banned the business. They dismantled the commercial ecosystem so thoroughly that the only way to access this protocol is to know the formula, source the ingredients separately, and prepare it yourself. This is an informational barrier, not a legal one. The information you are receiving right now is the thing they made difficult to find. This is documented institutional behavior, regulatory capture, the phenomenon of regulatory agencies serving the economic interests of the industries they are supposed to oversee, is not a fringe theory. It is described in academic political science literature. It is studied at universities. It is the subject of peer-reviewed research. When agencies tasked with protecting public health consistently make decisions that protect industry revenue instead, the pattern has a name. And the name is not conspiracy. The name is regulatory capture, so the formula is legal to make. The knowledge is legal to share. The only thing that has been suppressed is the commercial ecosystem that made it easy, and that is exactly why channels like this one exist. If you are finding value in this, subscribe. Share this video. Not for me. For the person in your community who needs this information and does not know where to find it. The exact protocol with precise measurements is coming next. That is the part you need. Stay right here. But before I give you the formula, I owe you something that most channels in this space will never give you. Honesty about what we do not know. I'm going to be direct with you. The combined 3-ingredient formula has never been subjected to randomized, controlled clinical trials in human subjects. Each ingredient has individually documented mechanisms of action. Juglone's antiparasitic properties are referenced in pharmacological literature. Eugenol's antimicrobial and ovicidal activity is documented in published research. Diatomaceous earth's mechanical insecticidal action is well established. But the specific combination at the specific ratio I'm about to give you has not been formally validated through evidence-based medicine standards. The absence of FDA-approved trials does not mean absence of efficacy. But it is an honest gap, and you deserve to understand it. There are additional limitations you need to know. This formula targets intestinal parasites, organisms in the digestive tract. It would not be effective against tissue parasites, blood parasites, or organ parasites that reside outside the gut. It is not a universal antiparasitic. It is a gut-specific protocol. Specific ingredient risks exist. Inhaling diatomaceous earth powder can cause respiratory irritation. Always mix it into liquid, never breathe the dry powder. Excessive DE consumption can cause gastrointestinal discomfort. Juglone in high concentrations is toxic. Follow the specified dosage precisely. Black walnut is a tree nut product. If you have nut allergies, exercise appropriate caution. Clove oil can cause mucosal irritation if the dosage is exceeded. 5 drops means 5 drops, not 10, not 15. Eugenol may interact with blood-thinning medications. If you are on anticoagulants, consult a medical professional. Pregnant and breastfeeding women should not use this formula, and I want to be clear about something else. Self-diagnosis of parasitic infection is unreliable. Many symptoms attributed to parasites, fatigue, digestive irregularity, brain fog, skin issues, have multiple possible causes. In a non-collapse scenario where medical infrastructure is functioning, get a proper diagnosis, stool testing exists, use it. These are real limitations. I'm not minimizing them. But they are also the same limitations that applied to every herbal remedy used by every civilization for thousands of years before clinical trials existed. Indigenous healers did not have double-blind studies. Military medics in the Pacific did not wait for peer review before deworming soldiers who were dying. Organic farmers did not submit their DE protocols for FDA approval before saving their livestock. The knowledge survived because it worked often enough, reliably enough, across enough populations and enough centuries to be passed down. In a collapse scenario where pharmaceutical supply chains have failed, where ivermectin is unavailable at any price, where contaminated water makes parasitic infection near certain, this formula represents the best available alternative based on the longest available track record. That is not a guarantee. That is a calculated judgment. And now you have all the information you need to make that judgment for yourself. With those limitations understood, here is the exact protocol. You need 3 ingredients. Quality specifications are critical. Get these wrong, and the formula is either ineffective or dangerous. Ingredient 1, food-grade diatomaceous earth. This must be food grade. The label must say food grade. Never use pool grade diatomaceous earth. Never use industrial grade. Pool grade DE is chemically treated and calcined at high temperatures. It contains crystalline silica, which causes serious lung damage. Pool grade DE can kill you. Food grade DE is amorphous silica. It holds FDA GRAS status. It is safe for consumption. The distinction is not optional. It is the difference between medicine and poison. The packaging will specify food grade. If it does not specify, do not use it. Ingredient 2, black walnut hull tincture. This must be an alcohol-based extraction from green hulls. Green hulls, not black. The green hull contains the highest concentration of juglone. Once the hull darkens and falls from the tree, juglone content drops significantly. Quality tinctures are made from hulls harvested while still green and extracted in high-proof grain alcohol. This is available at health food stores and online herbal suppliers. Look for dark glass bottles. The tincture should be dark brown to black in color. Ingredient 3, pure essential oil of clove. Not clove fragrance oil. Not synthetic clove flavoring. Pure essential oil derived from clove buds. The label should list eugenol as a primary constituent. Therapeutic grade or certified pure designations are preferred. This is available at any health food store and most grocery stores with a natural products section. Dark glass bottle. Store away from heat and light. Step 1, place 2 tablespoons of food-grade diatomaceous earth into a glass or ceramic container. Do not use plastic. Do not use metal. Glass or ceramic only. Step 2, add 1 ounce of black walnut hull tincture. 1 ounce equals 30 milliliters. That is approximately 2 tablespoons. Step 3, add 5 drops of raw clove oil. 5 drops. Count them. Do not estimate. Do not pour. Step 4, stir thoroughly until the diatomaceous earth is fully suspended in the liquid. It will form a gritty, slightly thick mixture. This is normal. Step 5, consume the entire mixture immediately. Follow it with at least 8 ounces of water or juice. The water helps move the DE through the digestive tract and ensures adequate hydration. Step 6, repeat this procedure twice daily. Once in the morning, once in the evening. Continue for 14 consecutive days without interruption. 14 days covers multiple parasite reproductive cycles. Stopping early allows surviving organisms to repopulate. Step 7. For suspected heavy infestations, an optional second 14-day course can be administered after a 7-day rest period. The rest period allows the gut lining to recover and allows any deeply embedded eggs to hatch, so the second course can address newly emerged organisms. Storage. Diatomaceous earth stores indefinitely when kept dry and sealed. It is a mineral. It does not expire. Black walnut hull tincture lasts years in a cool, dark location in sealed glass. The alcohol base acts as a preservative. Clove oil maintains potency for 2 to 4 years, stored in dark glass in a cool environment. None of these 3 ingredients require refrigeration. All 3 are shelf-stable. All 3 are lightweight. The total weight is negligible for inclusion in a bug-out bag or emergency supply cache. You could carry a year's supply of this protocol in a container smaller than a water bottle. Total cost, at bulk pricing, approximately $2 for a complete 14-day course. Compare that to $50 to $200 per pharmaceutical course, with pharmaceuticals requiring multiple courses because they do not address the egg stage. $2 once, versus potentially hundreds of dollars repeatedly for a product that leaves eggs alive. One longtime organic farmer in the prepper community reported administering this exact protocol to his family of 4 annually during garden season. He sources all 3 ingredients for under $10 total, enough for 4 complete courses. He has tracked digestive health and energy levels in a household journal for over 6 years and reports consistent improvement during and after each protocol cycle. His livestock receive DE in their feed year-round, under the same organic certification standards that have governed its agricultural use for decades. You now have the complete formula. Let us step back and look at what just happened in this video. We traced a line of knowledge from indigenous North American healers who used black walnut preparations centuries before European contact, through Asian traditional medicine that prized clove for over 1,000 years, through European colonial pharmacologists who isolated eugenol and put it to work, through United States military operations that dewormed soldiers as standard procedure because they knew parasites killed more effectively than enemy combatants, through organic farming operations that have never stopped using diatomaceous earth because it has never stopped working, through Hulda Clark's 1990s publication that systematized the combination approach, through pharmacological literature that documents the specific mechanisms of juglone, eugenol, and amorphous silica, and through the regulatory enforcement actions in at least 9 states that dismantled the commercial infrastructure for selling this knowledge as a product. That is the full picture. The World Health Organization documents parasitic infections as a leading cause of death in environments without clean water and modern sanitation. Those are exactly the conditions that define a collapse scenario. When the grid goes down, when the water treatment plants stop operating, when the pharmaceutical supply chains fracture, parasitic infection will not be a theoretical risk. It will be one of the first and most lethal threats your family faces. The drugs you might have relied on will be unavailable at any price, or they will be available only at prices that make $200 per course look like a bargain. 3 ingredients, $2, 14 days. Every life stage covered, adults shredded by amorphous silica, worms poisoned by juglone, eggs destroyed by eugenol. The knowledge weighs nothing. It costs nothing to carry. It addresses a threat that has shaped and ended human lives for as long as humans have existed. And the commercial system worked very hard to make sure you never learned it. The 9-state suppression of commercial sale means this knowledge cannot survive through normal market channels. It survives only when people like you share it with people like them. Your neighbors, your family, your preparedness group, your community. Sharing this video is not promotion. It is preservation. Next week, we open the vault on another protocol they tried to bury. Another piece of survival knowledge that costs almost nothing, weighs almost nothing, and solves a problem that the commercial system would rather sell you an expensive, recurring subscription to manage. You now possess knowledge that the commercial system tried to keep behind a prescription pad and a price tag. The formula is in your hands, the science is in your mind. The history is at your back. What you do with it is up to you.